Not sure yet. Alright, but there they never had respect. Alright, guys. Gotta get down to this is a really tough Gemara tonight. Really tough. Sorry. I'm not pulling any punches. So they're agonizing over it today. It's the beginning of a sugya, and it's 3, 6, 7 lines to the bottom. Shachto lishmo. You shechted the Korban Pesach lishmo. That's fine. That's good. But at the same time, you thought lizrok dama shelo lishmo. Okay, so during the shechita, you shechted lishmo, but you had in mind to do this because adam shelo lishmo. Rabbi Yochanan said, yesh shelo lishmo ba'avoda le'avoda. When we're going to have a thought during the zrika, during the shechita, to do the zrika shelo lishmo, and that in fact renders the whole korban unfit. No good. Who possible? Shimon Lakish Amar. Of course, next word is a typo. Ain't shelo lishmo me avoda la'avoda. You cannot think shelo lishmo for avoda la'avoda. Meaning, of course, you can render shechita unfit if you shech shelo lishmo, and you can render zrika unfit if you zorek shelo lishmo. But to think during shechita to do the zrika shelo lishmo, that does not render the korban unfit. Again, ain't shelo lishmo me avoda la'avoda v'yehei kosher, and it is valid in that case. Rabbi Ela, excuse me. Rabbi Ela, Mimachsheves Pigul made Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan learned that you can be mechashev at the shechita to do the zrika shelo lishma and render the korban unfit. That's from Pigul made Rabbi Yochanan. Elu. The next 3 words are wrong. The korban eidah changes. If you look mamish right opposite this in korban eidah, on 1 line down, it should be Elu. Hachi Garcida, Hey Gimel, and the korban eidah, the Hachi Garcida. Ilu shochat almanas lizrok domo l'machor. If you shecht it with the intent of doing zrikas adam the next day, right? So you shecht it with the intent to do zrikas adam yichutz l'zmano at the wrong time. So back to the Gemara. Shema eno pigul is not a pigul. So too, shachto shelo lishmo lizrok domo shelo lishmo. Shachto lishmo lizrok domo shelo lishmo. If you shecht the lishmo to be zorek domo shelo lishmo, it's possible. Okay? I waited for you as long as possible. What? Well, we did till now.
But that line is not true. I say thank you.
No, it was. It was. Yes. Okay. You should have brought him with you. How was he? 2? Yeah, that's right. Just to summarize what we did till now. It's Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish have an argument whether Mechashmi, the same argument appears in the Bavli, but whether Mechashmi avoida la'avoida. Right? Did the Machshava at time of Shechita do the Zrika Shelo Lishma? Is it possible or not? So Rabbi Yochanan says possible, and Rabbi Ela just say he learned from Pigul. Okay? Rabbi Yossi in the last line. Rabbi Yossi. Now the nightmare begins. Rabbi Yossi mitartin milin for 2 reasons. Lo dami machsheves pigul machsheves plul. Now it's not really 2 reasons. It's only 1 reason which has 2 components to it. Okay, it's the mashbiach, the mecha mayim puts it out. Why can you learn a psul from pigul? Ilu shachto lishmo. Okay, ready guys? Ilu shachto lishmo. Every other word here is a mistake. Ilu shachto lishmo. If you shechted the korban lishmo, l'kabel dama shelo lishmo, with the intent you thought at the time of shechita to do the kabbalah shelo lishmo. Shemein kosher is not kosher. Of course it's kosher. Kabbalah doesn't have to be done lishmo. It's not whenever, even by Korban Pesach. It has to be done lishmo. Kabbalah never has to be done lishmo. Not necessary, right? So shachto, however, if you shechted it, take out the next word. Shachto lishmo. If you shechted lishmo, right, you shechted for the right purpose. Next word should be vikibel, but you actually did the kabbalah as damo shelo lishmo. Puzzle. Again, if you thought during shechita to the kabbalah shelo lishmo, it's okay. But if you actually did the Kabbalah Shlo Lishma, since it's one of the 4 primary avodos, it's possible, right? So that's why we changed every word in that line. Shachto, again, I'm reading the line again. Shachto Shelo Lishmo. I'm sorry, Shachto Lishmo. Take out that Shelo. Shachto Lishmo. V'kibel Damo Shelo Lishmo. Of course, that's possible. Now, that's all. That's my machshavat Shelo Lishmo by Kabbalah. Let's try this. Ilu Shachto. What happens if you shechted Lishmo? You shechted Lishmo, it should be. Take out the Shelo. You shechted Lishmo. Laktir Imurin. In order to do the Aktoras Imurim, we could have chosen Achila, Zrika, any of them, but we chose Aktoras Imurim. You shechted Lishmo. To do the Aktoras Imurim, to putting the fats on his back, Shelo Lishmo. And here Shelo Lishmo really should be Mechutz Lizmano. Right? It's also, even the Tikkun, which Lieberman makes, no Yerushalmi, is not exact. Because we want to talk about Pigul. Pigul obviously is not doing Lishmo. Pigul has to do with the intent to eat it, or do something with it at the wrong time in the wrong place. So Shachto, again, but Shachto Lishmo, Shachto Lishmo L'Akti Murim, Shelo Lishmo, Shema ain't a Pigul. Is that not a Pigul? Of course it's a Pigul, right? Shachto Lishmo, but if you shechted Lishmo, Vehiktir Imurim Shelo Lishmo, and you're marking Imurim Shelo Lishmo, it's still kosher. Now, because after Zrika. So it's sorting through all these gears of changes. L'maisa, what we tried to say is this. You can't bring a parallel from Pigul to Shelo Lishmo. The parameters are exactly the opposite. There's certain by Kabbalah Saddam, which he brought as the example of Shelo Lishmo. If you did the Kabbalah Saddam Shelo Lishmo, it's possible. But if you had a thought to Shechita to Kabbalah Saddam Shelo Lishmo, it remains kosher. Pigul is the exact opposite. If you did the Aktoras Imurim, Michutz Lizman, Chutz L'Mkom, the korban is still kosher. If you had a machshava to do the Aktoras Imurim at the wrong time, then the korban is possible. So you can't be madam. It's apples and oranges. You want to say Rabbi Yochanan learn that if you think at the time of Shechita to do by Korban Pesach to do the Zrika Shlo Lishma, and a Korban Pesach of course to be done Lishma, that it's possible. You want to learn out for Pigul, you can't learn out for Pigul. Pigul is a different parameters. You talk about Shlo Lishma, you can't learn out for Pigul at all. They're not comparable. Simply not comparable. That's the Tain on Rabbi Ila. Rabbi Yisrael said, Ana Chamis Rabbi Yirmiyah, I saw Rabbi Yirmiyah, Tafis Rabbi Ba, grab Rabbi Ba. Amar Lei, it said to him, see, let's see what they cared about in the old days. Rabbi Yirmiyah grabbed him by the neck and he said, or by the whatever, the beard, he said, Amar Lei, Taimo the Rabbi Yechanan. Tell me the reason Rabbi Yechanan. Is it, Lama, what is it? Lama shachta lishmo lisokta mashlo lishmo apostle. Why if you shechted at lishmo, you had to have my lisokta mashlo lishmo as apostle? I want to know the reason. Says the Gemara. So I'm not sure if Rabbi Yirmiyah himself said this or Rabbi Ba said it back to him. I think Rabbi Yirmiyah himself said it must be nasa mishar rishoina kishokta lishmo v'shlo lishmo apostle. It must be that the Zrika, the thought about Zrika, piggyback's the right word. It comes into and takes hold on the thought of Shechita and if you're shechting for the right reason, the wrong reason, which is possible. Says the Gemara, Amar Lei. Again, I don't know who's saying what to whom, but one of the Amoraim said about the other one. Amar Lei v'in Kani, if that's the case. Afilu shachto, even if you shecht it, wrong word again, le'ochlav, even shecht for the eaters, lizok is damo shelo ochlav, in order to do zrika sadam for people who are not going to eat it, the also it should be kosher. V'yasem ishar rishoina keshochto le'ochlav v'shelo le'ochlav v'yeh kosher. I don't understand, he says. If that's the case, so if you can, I forget forget to change something here? No, that's correct. Yeah, so he said if that's the case, if you shechted lo'ochlav, then in order to zrikas adam shelo lo'ochlav, maybe I should change the gears to the other way here. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Changing in on the fly here. I just saw Pnei Moshe changed it differently, and I changed the carbon A. The Pnei Moshe makes more sense. So, Amar Levi and Kani, if that's the case, Afilu Shachto, Afilu Shach, she even say the cool. In other words, like you, Rabbi Yirmiyah, I'm soon as Rabbi Bar responding, he says, like Rabbi Yirmiyah, well, how are you going to say Rabbi Yochanan? Rabbi Yochanan said if you did the Shechita, Lishmo, in order to do the Zrika Shlo Lishmo, it's possible, because you say the thought of Zrika takes a hold at top of the thought of Shechita, and in this case it's a Chumrah, because any Shlo Lishmo apostles, say it also L'Kula. Say, Shachto Le'ochlav, you shechted shachto shalol ochlav. You shechted with thought shalol ochlav, which of course is no good. But you had in mind at the time of shechita, lizok is domo li'ochlav. You had in mind that the zrika should be for the right people. That should be a kula, because then just like you bring the bad thought from zrika, bring in a good thought from zrika. And why does this work? 1 second. Because we know if you shecht originally for oichlin and shalol ochlim, it's kosher. So just like we piggyback l'chumra, let's piggyback l'kula. That's his question. Yeah. Rabbi Yochanan's premise is, if I shechted lishmo, in order to do zrikas adam shlo lishmo, it renders the korban unfit. And Rabbi Yirmiyah is postulating that the reason, or hypothesizing, that the reason for that is that the thought of zrika combines with the thought of shechita, since they were thought at the same point in time, and therefore the chumrah devolves, meaning since zrika shelo lishmo is possible, it makes the shechita shelo lishmo also possible, and the korban's nifsa. Okay, but that's true by lishmo, because the korban must be entirely lishmo, can't be partially lishmo and partially shelo lishmo. But ask Gemara, if you're going to say that as far as whatever thought applies to zrika now comes back on the shechita, because we have both thoughts simultaneously, so it should also work l'kula by l'ochla v'shlo l'ochla, because we know by l'ochla it doesn't have to be completely for the ochlin, as long as it's partially for the ochlin. So even if the shechita was shelo l'ochla, if at the time shechita you also had in mind to do the zrika l'ochla, that second thought should render the korban kosher, because it should also come back and impact on the shechita and make the shechita partially good, and partially good is sufficient. Okay? Says the Gemara, again, let me read it inside. On leaving Kani, if that's the case, afilu shachto shelo la'ochlav, even shachto not for the ochlim, lizok is domo, but he would have in mind to do zirkus adam le'ochlav for the eaters. Let it be from the first moment, as if it was lo'ochlav, shelo la'ochlav, be kosher. Shmiv out. Says the Gemara, the lacy, you can't say that. The Mar Rabbi Ila b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Ila said name Rabbi Yochanan, shachto la'ochlav. If you shecht it for the oichlim, lizok dama shlo la'ochlav. If you shecht it with the thought la'ochlav, which is good, with the thought of zrikas adam shlo la'ochlav, it's possible. Even though it says kosher, it should be possible. So why? L'maisa, I just showed you why it should be good, right? Why is this case bad? Asa Rabbi Yochanan, you know what the truth says, Mar? Asa Rabbi Yaakov Baracha b'shem Rabbi Yochanan says, Shachto ochlav lizok dam shlo ochlav kosher. You're right. that brisa which says that which Rabbi Ela said that V'shech L'ochlav, and that in mind do Zrikas Dam Sh'ochlav, that's Rabbi Ela's opinion, but we don't hold that way. We don't like Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, who said that V'shech for the Oichlim to do Zrikas Dam Sh'ochlav, or vice versa. As long as at the Tashchid you had one thought and one of the avodas for the Shem Oichlim, that's sufficient. Well, actually, for Shchita or Zrika for the Oichlim, that's sufficient, that's kosher. Rabbi Yosa Nosiv Chela min Train Tamid Rabbi Yochanan. Now Rabbi Yosa, who argues Rabbi Yochanan previously, derives his position from two statements of Rabbi Yochanan. Meaning Rabbi Yochanan contradicted himself. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Mechashmi avodah la'avodah." You're going to have a torture in Shchita about the Zrika and apostle of Shchita. Rabbi Yosa questioned that. He said that might be true about Lishmo and Shelo Lishmo. But how can you learn Pigel from that? I'm sorry. He said, how can you learn? You want to learn from Pigel? You can't learn Pigel because Pigel and Apostle are not necessarily the same thing. That was this whole talk on the top. Pigel and Shelo Lishmo are not necessarily the same thing. And Rabbi Yosef found in arguing Rabbi Yochanan, another Rabbi Yochanan seems to argue on himself. Why? Because it says in this statement named Rabbi Yochanan, Lama Shachto, which day Rabbi Yochanan take it from? 1 second. Yeah. So Lama Shachto. What? Again, a lot of changes here. Lama Shachto La'ochlav it should be. Lama Shachto La'ochlav. If you shechted for the ochlim, Lizor Gdama Shelo La'ochlav. Every word here is wrong. And Lizor Gdama Shelo La'ochlav. And the to do Zrikas Dam Shelo La'ochlav is kosher. Why is that valid? Because Naaseh Kimi Shah Rishona, because if he did it for the first moment, Kishochto Lishmo, Kishochto La'ochlav, as if he shechted for La'ochlav, V'shelo La'ochlav, for both, Vu kosher. And that's kosher. So again, Rabbi Yosef got his proof that Rabbi Yochanan holds that
essentially repeating what we have.
No, but it's not really. Yeah, well, it is, kind of, yeah. Right. But the point the one is making here is that Rabbi Yosef says the Rabbi Yochanan is inconsistent. Rabbi Yochanan knows Shelo Lishmo and Lishmo piggybacks leave soul, and Rabbi Yosef says L'ochlav and Shelo L'ochlav piggybacks be machshir. But the truth is, now that I'm thinking about that, it's not inconsistent. It's very consistent. Because now to have any thought of Shelo Lishmo on a korban, but you're allowed to have both the thought of L'ochlav and Shelo L'ochlav on a korban. That's not a problem. But I guess Rabbi Yosef didn't draw that distinction. He said if you pass on one, you should pass on the other. It should make no difference. I guess that's what he's thinking. And he says again, let's read that again. Lama shachto le'ochlim. Why is shel le'ochlim? These are okdama shelo le'ochlim. In order to do this time, not le'ochlim is kosher. Because it becomes kimishari shoina, as if for the first moment, kishochto la'ochlav, as if it's setting shechting for the oichlim v'shlo la'ochlav, vu kosher, and that's kosher. Lama shochto la'ochlav lisrok dama shlo la'ochlav kosher. And why is that? It's now the more repeating itself according to this thing. I noticed the Gemara seems to be repeating itself.
Unless the Gersa wasn't messed up.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the great Lieberman said it's messed up. Fixed every word in my Gemara. Maybe he makes it one Gersa. Oh boy. He doesn't address the fact that it's doubled. Gee. What do I do about this? Sir, Mama Shach Nishma is also Nishma Paso. Sir, I don't know. I don't know why we have to change it. Now I'm looking back and I blindly followed Lieberman. It's supposed to show never trust anybody who went to JTS. It says.
Go to JTS.
I know, right? Who went to JTS? Right? They went to Starbucks? Of course they went to Starbucks. And we're saying went later to JTS. It reads very well without this Tikkun Girsa. Boo, boo, boo. What is that? Yeah. Okay. Wait. No Washington now. Let's do it again. Lama shachta lishmo. If you share, I'm just going to read it straight. Come on, I don't understand why I have to change anything. I'm very upset now. Lama shachta lishmo. Why we shachta lishmo? Shmo lizrok dama shlo lishmo puzzle. Why is that? Nasa mishar rishaynik shachta lishmo v'shlo lishmo v'u puzzle. Right? Immediately when you shechted, even though you had in mind to shchita lishmo, but you had in mind to shchita shlo lishmo. So of course it's puzzle, right? That's by lishmo. Lama shachta lochlev lizrok dama shlo lochlev kosher. Why after you shechted lochlev do the speakers dam shlo lochlev it's kosher? Natzim mishar arishayna kishreich lochlev shlo lochlev bu kosher. Of course, follows logically. All I'm saying is the chiluk. All I'm saying is a simple chiluk. I said for like a half an hour on this today. I'm not very annoyed. It's very simple. What he's going to say is that there are two different pshatim Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yosef Nasiv Chelim in trade time in Rabbi Yochanan needs Rabbi Yosef saying that we have two different statements named Rabbi Yochanan. I'm not sure Nasiv Chelim means now. Nasiv Chelim normally means bring a raya. I don't think it's bringing a raya. It's true. He's showing what Rabbi Yochanan's statements mean. And he's saying they're two different things. By Shachto Shlo Lishmo, and by Shachto Lishmo, Amanas Lizrok Dama Shlo Lishmo. Of course it's possible, because any thought Shlo Lishmo passes. But the exact opposite is true by Eichlin. By Eichlin, as long as you have a partial short thought, L'Shem Eichlin, that's good enough. So if you shechted L'Shem Eichlin, Amanat shechted Shlo L'Shem Eichlin. Amanas to Lizrok Dama L'Shem Eichlin, so that works. And it's very simple. Everything is hunky-dory. Okay? So I don't know. The no tikkun girsa was necessary. Yeah. Okay. Says going further. It's a special agmas nefesh when you mess up your Gemara like this, and then it turns out that it's totally necessary. All right, now comes the hard part. Rabbi Chanina, this is the part Lieberman says, I don't understand what's going on. So, since he says he doesn't understand what's going on, and I don't like what anybody else said, I'm going to teach it my way. Rabbi Chanina, Amar Kumi Rabbi Mona. Rabbi Chanina said for Rabbi Mona, B'Shem Rabbi Yudah, name Rabbi Yudah. Time of the Rabbi Echnon. Now here Lieberman says very interesting, this type of thing which Rabbi Meir will remember for the rest of his life, even though I'll forget it tomorrow. The Lieberman says, Yerushalmi very often when it says time of the Pliny, doesn't mean we're about to explain their logic, rather it means Lefit Varav. According to his logic, the following statement is true. Okay? Normally in Bavli, it says time of the Pliny means we're about to explain his logic. But here in the Yerushalmi means according to his logic, we can say a chiddush. Okay? And this is the chiddush we're about to say. And what is that? Whenever you come to a certain avodah, in itself is no chashivas. By chashivas I mean a machshava about this avodah won't do anything, or might not have a negative or positive ramification. But another avodah can have a significant impact upon it. Okay? Or vice versa, can have another significant impact on another avodah. And the Yerushalmi will explain what we mean. It's very similar to what we said on the top, which was a question in Rabbi Yochanan. We're trying to explain the whole story, trying to explain Rabbi Yochanan. By the way, I saw it today. I was leaving through a sefer, the Meloah Roim. It's a sefer of Klolim on Shas, and he says that he brings down the Pesachim about the Bavli and Yerushalmi. We always pass on the Bavli and Yerushalmi, except there's a machlokas between the Bavli and Yerushalmi about what Rabbi Yochanan's shita was. I guess there are machlokas like that, so we follow the Yerushalmi. Because Yerushalmi was written by Rabbi Yochanan, so it certainly should know better what the Rabbi Yochanan shita was than the Bavli would. It's interesting, isn't it? He says written by the Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah. Yeah, obviously it's not true about the entire Yerushalmi, but yeah. Says one example. Ilu shachto. Now I would like to take out the next three words. I didn't say anybody else do it, but I'm doing it. Ilu shachto shelo lishmo. What happens if shachto korban shelo lishmo? Shema. Do you think Eino Puzzle? It says Pigel, but it's supposed to be Puzzle because Shlo Lishmo doesn't make Pigel, right? It makes Puzzle. That even Lieberman brings down. So if you shechted a korban, Shlo Lishmo, Shema Eino Puzzle, is it not Puzzle? Now the truth is, originally I want to take out the word Eino also. And I want to say this because the truth is that by a korban other than Pesach and Chatos, if you shechted Shlo Lishmo, it's good korban, right? No problem, Shechtin Shlo Lishmo. It's a valid korban. Now you're tzirchi with it, but it's a valid korban. So I would still like to take out the word Eino, but I don't have to. But if I take it out, then it works out beautifully, and maybe I'll just take it out to make it work. Ilu Shachto Shlo Lishmo. Shema Puzzle? Is it Puzzle? Obviously not, right? However, Shachto Lishmo, if you shech lishmo lisrok damo shelo lishmo, if you shech lishmo with them having in mind to do this because adam shelo lishmo, then it is possible. So here we see a case where the avodah itself does not have an impact, right? In other words, if you shech to the korban, even shelo lishmo, it's still a valid korban. But you shech to the korban shelo lishmo, and if you shech the korban lishmo, right, for the right way, to do Zrikas Adam Shalol Lishmo, then it's possible. Okay? Now, again, I don't have to change the gears of that dramatically. I could say that if you shech the Tzvei Pesach, if you shech the Shalol Lishmo, it's possible, it's not Pigul. But if you shechted to do the Zrikas Adam, michutz limkoimo chutzis mano, that even becomes pigul. But the point is, however we change the gears, mess around with it, and we can mess around with it in several ways. The bottom line is saying that sometimes this avodah itself, in and of itself, is nicht gefährlich. Throw in some other avodah, it ruins everything. And that really is what Rabbi Yochanan said to begin with. There's really not a chiddush in what we said so far. Right. Now it gets more interesting. Ilu shachto lekabel damo. Back to Kabel Saddam. If you shechted lekabel damo shlo lishmo, if you shechted to be in order to be makabel dam shlo lishmo, shema eino apostle. Is it? It should be. It says kosher, but do you think it's not puzzle? What? Yeah, wait. No, it's zrika, not shchita. Ilu zorak. Yeah, Iluzorak, right. Iluzorak it should be. Iluzorak lekabel damash lo yishmo shema in apostle. If you did this rika to do kabel sam at the wrong time. That's right. It changes the whole line. Shema kosher. So what is it going to be? Yeah, but that's bad. It's bad for me. You don't read a puzzle. Yeah.
Line 2, line 3.
See, he changed it completely. Carmaid, I don't like what he does. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with this line. To change the carbonator makes a major mess. The emotion doesn't help. He does, but I don't like what he does. Yeah, I don't like that. It's very difficult to. Yeah, but it's good. So then the rest of the line is not symmetrical, because the rest of the line does talk about Kabbalah. I have an idea. I want to salvage myself here. Okay, this is a little bit of sleight of hand, and you might not like it. But all is fair in love in Yerushalmi. The way I want to read it is like this. Like Rabbi Yochanan. What's this for Rabbi Yochanan? If you do the shechita What's the halacha? It's puzzle. Why? Why is that? Because the avodah. Yeah, I like what I'm about to say. The avodah you're about to do, the avodah you're doing, the shechita, is no good shelo lishmo. What happens if you did the shechita lishmo, but you did with the mind doing the kabbalas adam shelo lishmo? According to Rabbi Yochan's logic, it passes the korban. Why is that? Because remember we said whatever thought you have later on applies now. So the shelo lishmo and the kabbalah applies to the shechita. Because you had in mind at the time he did the shechita, even though he did the shmo, to do a later avodah shelo lishmo. That's the yisod he wants to say. Ilu shachtel kabel damo shelo lishmo shema eno pasul, is it not pasul? Even though b'shatz kabbalah mechshavu, at the time of kabbalah, there's no mechshavu which passes it. Mechshavu means we don't. If you thought of that psul of shelo lishmo at time kabbalah, would have no impact. There's some avodas. Again, this is what the chiddush of Yerushalmi here. There's some avodas which at the time you do them, even if you did shelo lishmo, it doesn't pass. But if you did it at a different time, you thought to do those avodah shelo lishmo, it does pass. That's what we're doing. And it's really like we said by Aktoris Limurim before, right? By Aktoris Limurim, and I think a way I'm contending you, we're about to say the same thing here. Let's go a little bit further. If you come to avodah ve'ena mechashev lo, that machshava does not render the korban pasul. Who mechash me avodah acheres lo, but you can think from another avodah to it, and that renders the korban unfit. And another example, ilu shachto lishmo. If you shechted lishmo, here it's very good. Here shech lishmo lahakti murim shelo lishmo. You shech lishmo in order to do the aktoris shelo lishmo. Shema eno pigul. That's a pigul, right? Even though b'shatz haktorah eno mechashe, even though doing the haktorah at the wrong zman or the wrong makom itself doesn't make it a pigul, but having a thought earlier does make a pigul. Harei koshi ilu yava loisa avoida. When you come to that avoida, I don't know why it got reversed here. It should be ve'eno mechashev lo, even though that avoida doesn't render unfit. Who mechashev mi avoida acheres lo. When he does it, has that thought at the time of another avodah, it does render the korban unfit. So again, we had two examples. When you do the kabbalah shelo lishmo, it doesn't pass. When you do the aktoris limurim shelo lishmo, it doesn't pass. But do the shechita and have in mind to do the kabbalah shelo lishmo, that renders it possible. Because now it's as if the shechita was done shelo lishmo. And of course, do the shechita in order to aktoris limurim shelo lishmo, takes a step further, makes it mamish pigul, right? Because aktoris limurim chutz zman chutz koima makes it mamish pigul. So on this last point, Amar Leh, he said, "Lo tisiveni mi pigul apostle." No. You're trying to bring it to your last raya is not a good raya, because your last raya is from the case of aktoris limurim, right? Aktoris limurim, if you had in mind at the time shechita do aktoris limurim in the wrong time, that makes it pigul. Well, pigul already learned way back at the beginning of the sugya that pigul is not a tushtel, it's not parallel to pasul. So you can't bring a raya. You wanted to say a chiddush, a gavaldige chiddush. At least this is the way I see the chiddush. You wanted to say a chiddush that if you had in mind the time of shechita to a kabbalah shelo lishma, it passes the korban. Why? Because the thought shelo lishma goes back now in the shechita. You wanted to bring a buyer from aktoris limurim. That by aktoris limurim, the thought to be makriv, the limurim at the wrong time, goes back on the shechita and the shechita unfit. That's not a raya, because that's a special case. That's pigul. And we already said that you can't draw proofs, parallels from pigul to pasul. Okay. This very pigul apostle. The Rabbi Yesim train mili lo damya. These two things are not similar. Machshev is pigul and machshev is psul. They're not all similar, so you can't bring a right from one to the other. Okay, that was the hard part. It was pretty hard. Ma nafi min beinel. What's the nafkamina between them? Now everybody goes crazy. Nafkamina between whom and whom?
The Bikurim just takes out these words. But I think that the Ridbaz is a long shot, which Lieberman agrees with, but Lieberman's already been discredited tonight. So I don't like this shot at all. So I have my own shot here, which might backfire again, seeing how my track record for tonight is. But I think that's going back on Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. And we call him Machlokus Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan was Macham, Reish Lakish was Mekel. They don't said. We came out with. We said that the Shelo Lishmo's Rika impacts on the Shechita, according to Rabbi Yochanan, but doesn't impact according to Reish Lakish. Of course, he said that later on, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that by Lochlev Shlo Lochlev might generate a kula. But that itself is a machlokas. So it was two opinions. Whether later on the Lochlev by the Srika, no, not later on. Whether thought to do later on the Srika Lochlev will help me and salvage my thought to the Shechita Shlo Lochlev. We had a machlokas about that. But about Lishmo and Shlo Lishmo, Rabbi Yochanan came out being Macham and Reish Lakish came out being Mekel. So say I ask Yerushalmi, Ma Navik Bi Beinehon, and I think the word Chilufin of the next line should be over here as well, over here, back here. Ma Navik Beinehon Chilufin. Give me an afkamina where Rabbi Yochanan come out L'Kula. It's getting an afkamina Rabbi Yochanan came out L'Chumra. Give me an afkamina Rabbi Yochanan come out L'Kula. Okay? Ma Navik Beinehon Chilufin. From Rabbi Shua Bar Duma, I'll give you a good example. Rabbi Yochanan comes out L'Kula. B'shayim Mois Hashana. I remember I moved the word Chilufin back a line. B'shayim Mois Hashana. A Pesach. Zelotov. We have to pass. We have to sacrifice the rest of the year as a Shlomim, not as a Pesach. Oh, so now we're B'shayim Mois Hashana. Al Daiti Rabbi Yochanan Kasher. Let's skip words. Yeah, B'shayim Mois Hashana. Shachto Lishmo. If you shechted the rest of the year Lishmo, which is bad, because Lishmo is L'Shem Pesach, right? Zelo Tov. Lizro K'dama Shlo Lishmo, but he had in mind to do this week as Shelo Lishmo, not L'Shem Pesach, but rather L'Shem Shlomi, which is good. So Adayit Rabbi Yochanan kosher. Rabbi Yochanan's kosher. Why? Because the Shelo Lishmo, which pertains to this Rika, works back on the Shechita, and as if at the time of Shechita, I was oiking the carpet for being a Pesach, and that's good. I made it Shlomim.
Yeah, but from the get-go, it was a Shlomim. It was never...
No, we need Akira. If you shech the Pesach Shrine, the Agmar is going back to we had a machlokas in the Bavli. You need Akira, a verbal statement or a conscious decision that leads to change it from a Pesach to a Shlomim. So this is holding you do. So like Reish Lakish, here's the case of Rabbi Yochanan's a kula, right? Because like Reish Lakish, so your first thought of Shechita was a Pesach, even though you had in mind at the time you do Shechita to do this Rika L'Shem Shlamim, too bad. You start off bad, you start off the wrong foot, the garment's puzzle. But like Rabbi Yochanan, here it's a kula. Because here, the thought of to do this Rika Shelo Lishma, that works back to your advantage here and makes it already from the Shechita as if it's being done L'Shem Shlamim and it's good. Okay? So that's an nafkamina l'chilufin. That means that here's an nafkamina in which Rabbi Yochanan comes out l'kula. That's how I think the easiest way to learn the Gemara. Okay? Nobody says it, but through Shami we get to say our own stuff. Says the Gemara, I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, Al-Ho Amali Abba Bar Abba, and this Abba Bar Abba told me, who remembers who Abba Bar Abba is? Rav is Abba Bar Abba. Al-Ha Amali Abba Bar Abba, Dino Namrim, that Zezogin in Bovel, that they say in Bovel, Minayin Shah Pesach Mishtana L'Shem Shlomim. How you know that Pesach has changed to L'Shem Shlomim? Yeah, the rest of the year. Tamlor be Minat Tzon Korban. No. Anything which was sown means Korban Pesach was brought from Tzon. L'Zevach Shlomim should become Shlomim. Kol Shu Minat Tzon. Anything which was Tzon, it should be Bar Shlomim. Should come Shlomim when it comes else time of the year. So you see, so they ask, what? Harei oila minatzon. To take out the whole bunch of words here is superfluous. Just be harei oila minatzon. Oila can also come from sheep, right? So maybe it means your oil becomes shlamim. How does it mean your korban pesach becomes shlamim? Maybe if you had an oil, a moister oil, right? You sacrifice not even oil. You had a spare. Maybe the spare comes to shlamim because you have oils which come from sheep as well. Says the Gemara, true, but it says no. I see. Hey, Simon, they asked Harei oila minatzon. So it says minatzon. Yoitza olos shiba afilu min habakar. Can't be referring to olos, leftover olos, because olos even come from cattle. Hey, Simon, so they asked Harei Asham. What about Asham, which only comes from sheep? Asham can't come from cattle, it's either sheep or goats. Amar Abun Bar Kana, so Abun Bar Kana said, min hatzon, from the sheep. Davar abba mikol tzon, something which comes from all sheep. There are two kinds of sheep. Did you know that? Sheep and goats. As opposed to Yatz Asher, Sheina Boy Elamina Elam Bilvad. Shamos can only be male rams, not billy goats. So therefore, since that's the case, when it says Minat Zon, Zevar Shlamim, it's referring to that which comes from all types of zone, can only be a Korban Pesach. Right? Says more, wait a minute, whoa. The Chol Asar all over, Atom Armin is I think it should be the opposite. Chol Asar Atom Armin Lemait. Yeah, I forgot to change it, my Gemara. Chol Asar Atom Armin Lemait. All over mean is Lemait. Pnei Moshe makes a change. All over mean is Lemait. Right? Mean means from something. V'achat amar mean l'rabos. And here you're using the mean l'rabos to include something from all types of sheep, as opposed to Oshim, which only comes from one type of sheep. How do you use mean as a riboy? Mean is always a meat. It excludes, not includes. Or Ramana says miato is also a meat. Sheina b'ayla min eilu. It comes to be might rams. It comes to be might ashamos. Ashamos, which don't only come from rams, that they're precluded from becoming shlami if they're left over. Again, it's might ashamos, which only come from rams. Hey, Simon, they asked the kind of question, and say, iminat son karbano, mina kvasimo, mina izim, lo. Hey, what do you do with this pasuk? Says if your carbon came minat son, which means even korban pesach, it becomes an oila. So let's say leftover korban pesach will become oilus. Says Umar Me'ata Moisra Pesach. Anything which comes from Pesach. Next word is a typo. Boilot shmin oilus. It's the question. Rabbi Avin said no, that can't be. That pasuk cannot pertain to korban pesach misvora. You know why? Mishanin davar shulachila b'davar shulachila. You take something which is edible and change it to something else is edible. Pesach eat, shlomi eat. You can't change something which is originally meant to eat, and make it something which is not meant to eat. Meaning take a Pesach and make it into an Ola. Can't be. It's not possible. So we reject that potential use of the pasuk. Rabbi Yisrael Buna another svara. Mishani kachim kalim shein kachim kalim. Pesach kachim kalim. Shloim is kachim kalim. You can change one to the other. Mishani kachim kalim can't make a Pesach kachim kalim. L'shein kachim and oil which is kachim. Rabbi Yochanan said, Al to Amar Rabbi Yochanan. The various interpretations of what Al to Amar is, where it's right here, so, but the bottom line is, he said something about that which Rabbi Chanina said. It should be the Inun army that in Bavel they say, Ein Pesach Mishnah Shem Shlomim, Ela Im Kein Shachlu Shem Shlomim. Chanina said, yeah, of course Pesach becomes a Shlomim, but you have to have in mind to make it a Shlomim. What do you have in mind making oila? It's possible. So on that he says, I say as long as you make the Pesach, ois Pesach, right? That's why I told you, Noma, you have to be oikered from Pesach. But even if you had in mind to make an oil, that's good enough. Okay? I'm a Rabbi Law. Rabbi Law said, time of the Rabbi Yochanan, the logic of Rabbi Yochanan is here's iminatzon karbano l'sevach shlamim. The logic is based on that pasuk. If it becomes zevach shlamim. Kol shu zevach ba shlamim. As long as you have a mind to make it another zevach, it's a shlamim. So Ray reads the pasuk is very creative. You have to give an A++ for creativity. Iminatzon karbano, and he has in mind zevach for another zevach, even to make an oila. That's enough, and it becomes a shlamim. Okay, that's how Rabbi Law reads the pasuk called Rabbi Yochanan. Says now here's a very interesting question. Again, I didn't see anybody who gives a satisfactory interpretation here. So we're learning like the big day sheish. Let's say you shechted the Pesach in the rest of the year for an oila, and at the same time you had a machshava to make it a pigul. Can it become a pigul, or is it only a puzzle? Nafkin is, of course, chayiv koris. In other words, do two wrongs make a right in this case, right? If you had in mind to shech l'shem shlamim, which is what it should be, and you had in mind to make it a pigul, so of course it does become a pigul. But what if you had in mind to make it an oila, and then had in mind to make it a pigul? So does the fact that you had the misthought about making an oil instead of a shlamim save you from pigul? It's just a puzzle.
It was never a carbon.
That's the question. Right, but according to Rabbi Yochanan it is. Because Rabbi Yochanan, as well, even if you had shem oil, it could still be a shlamim afterwards. So that's the basis of the question, right? Hey Chavi, what's the case story about? Shachlu shem oil is mamish, just what I just told you. You shachlu shem oil. I'm not lizok damo l'mocha in order to do zrikas adam at the wrong time. Mikomok a puzzle. Okay, it's puzzle for sure. But if you're going to say, like Rabbi Yochanan said, that at the thought of Ola, it still becomes a shlamim, so pigul, so now it becomes pigul. If you say, Rabbi Chanina, they have to have my dafkul shem shlamim and not a shem oila. You had my shem oila, it's still good. So, puzzle, it's puzzle, but not pigul. Okay? Now, that which I said, we said in Amud Aleph about the Shai Moshe Shana, about Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish's machlokas, where Rabbi Yochanan comes out l'kula. Here the Gemara repeats it from another angle. Now Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, somebody else. Lishmo v'shlo lishmo v'Shai Moshe Shana. You had in mind lishmo and shalo lishmo. Both thoughts, right? Rabbi Bun bar Ruchia b'shem Shmuel bar Abba said, "Mikemot she'ein lo shem." It has no specific name. It's not Pesach, it's not Shlamim. And you had in mind both. Right?
Why isn't it shlamim?
Excuse me?
Why isn't it shlamim?
Oh, because we weren't okar it properly. You didn't do proper akira. So the Shmo v'shlosh v'shayitz v'shana, right? Boom, Rechia b'shem b'shmuel rabba, came she'ein lo shem, since it's neither fish nor fowl, so to speak. Nasa v'shochto l'shmo v'shlo l'shmo v'shtika. It's as if you didn't express the thought of lishmo and shalo lishmo. It's as if you were silent, and of course, when you're silent, so it's kosher, right? Amarlei, so he said to him, V'inkeini, if that's the case, afilu shachto lishmo, lizrok dama shlo lishmo. So the same thing should apply. Again, he uses for Rabbi Yochanan. Yishach lishmo, lizrok dama shlo lishmo. V'yasim yishar yishona, kishachto lishmo v'shlo lishmo v'shtika. V'yekosher, say the same thing in that case. So the truth is, Amar Rabbi Abba Mari, Man Amar b'shasika kosher, or Nomar b'shasika apostle. He just throws out the whole thing. He says, you know what? Shasika is nice by a regular korban. But how do you know you don't need akira by korban Pesach? Your whole thing is that the lishmo and shlo lishmo cancel each other out because this korban is not really designated for anything yet. That's nice. But l'maisa by korban Pesach, we may well require akira. If we may well require akira, so until the akira is done, we don't know what the status for shasika is. So essentially the Gemara learns with the equivalent of a teiku. We don't know what the answer is here. Alright, we'll stop here. We'll keep over Aloha Gimel next week. That was really murderous. Yes.